What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Unpopular Popular Opinions, and today I'm doing a review on the Huawei Honor 8. Okay, I've only had this device for 2 weeks, but I've used it pretty much and figured the ins and outs on this thing enough to know whether I like it or not and whether I can suggest it. Now, what you're looking for in a device, it all depends on you. You can't go by my word. I can just tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Okay? Today, this just received the Android 7.0 update, or what Huawei likes to call the Emotion UI 5.0. It was running the Android 6.0, Emotion 4.1. Okay? Now, I don't need to use the device to see whether or not or how Android 7.0 Nougat runs. Okay, everybody's done reviews on Nougat. It's the same on this as it is any other device. Of course, it has Huawei skin on it. You're either gonna love it or hate it. I like Huawei skin. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I'm in the middle. I don't care. We'll go over a few specs real quick. This has an octa-core processor. Dual SIM slots, so you could use one of them to put up to 128 gigabyte SD card in there. Okay, it has a 5.2 inch LTPS screen that's 16 by 9. Resolution is 1920 by 1080 or 423 ppi. Okay, cameras, dual camera sensors in the rear. They're both 12 megapixels, but one is monochrome, the other is color. What it does is it takes two pictures and it combines them for the sharpest image. Front camera is 8 megapixels, which is real good for a front-facing camera with delayed shooting and panoramic selfie support. Okay. The main camera has an aperture of f2.2. The front camera has an aperture of f2.4. Video, the main camera and secondary camera support 1080p. That's the highest you're going to get. That's all you need. YouTube, you can't even watch most videos at 1080p without it freezing, unless you have really good Wi-Fi and you let it load for a little bit. It all really depends. Most of the time I'm watching it on 720, no matter where I'm at. Very rarely can I watch something at 1080p, much less 4K. Okay, it has digital zoom. Has a lot of other features as far as like gesture controls, double tapping with the double knuckles to take screenshots and all that stuff. I'll play with it in front of you, just to show you how it works, what I think about it. RAM has 4 gigabytes of RAM. This model has 32 gigabytes of ROM. You pay an extra $50, you can get 64 gigabytes of ROM. I paid $400 for the 32 because I don't need all that, because my main device, I have lots of storage in it. Okay, this is just a secondary device. I might sell it. I might give it away. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's a good device. Battery, 3,000 milliamp hours. Now, you have some complaints about the battery. I don't have any complaints about the battery. I'm always around a charger. I have a zero lemon 30,000 milliamp charger that I carry around with me in my little electronics bag. So battery is not a problem for me. Now, if you're the type of person that's out all day and you're never around a source to charge it, or you don't have a charger on you or whatever it may be, I don't think it's going to be an issue for you. And if you're a power user, if you're a true power user, you're not going to run out of battery, because true power users carry extra battery sources with them. So don't say you're a power user and you need this to work all day without it running out, because you're not a power user if you don't keep a source to charge your device. Okay, even if it's only a 6,000 milliamp lipstick size charger, you're going to have one. Okay, this is a GSM phone. Okay, so don't go try to use it on Verizon. It'll probably work on Verizon. I'm quite sure one of the bands work, so you can try it out if you want, but just get it for the proper carrier, just to avoid all the trouble. Okay, now call quality, I'm gonna get into that real quick. I have no problem hearing the other line. They have no problem hearing me. I haven't had any dropped calls. This is on the T-Mobile network. No problems there. Okay? That's supposed to be the main feature, but cell phones these days, calling is probably the thing that people do the least on their device. All right. Let me get into what I don't like about this device. The same thing I don't like is the same thing I do like. I know that sounds cliche. It's a fingerprint magnet. Okay? It might sound a little hypocritical coming from me, because you will hear me say a lot of times, I do not care about what a device looks like. My favorite device of all time happens to be the ugliest device of all time, which is the LG V20. Okay? This is probably the most gorgeous device I have ever seen. But just handling it a little bit, I find myself wiping it off more than you actually using it. Okay? But it's beautiful. It's made of all glass. It has like several layers of glass, and it gives you this nice little effect when the sunlight hits it. It's a sapphire blue. It's really pretty. I like the flushness of the cameras. Okay? Now, that's a plus and a minus, and this is what a lot of people don't understand. You get phones with camera humps. I don't know if they do this on purpose or what, but I find it to be a plus to have a camera hump. Okay? Because if you have a slippery device and you're holding it, that camera hump can stop it from falling. And believe me, I have stopped my device from falling by gripping the camera hump on more than a few occasions. The fingerprint sensor. When I first got this, and it's only been a couple of weeks, the sensor would work right away. Immediately. Okay? Now, after having it for a while I mean actually just after 3 days of having it, the camera sensor was about 50-50. You have to deliberately touch it to get it to come on, and quite often it wouldn't come on. So it's probably the smoothest, but it kind of lost its touch. No pun intended. Okay? But what I do like about this fingerprint sensor, which other phones should take note of, is it's a 3D sensor. In other words, it has other functions built into it. I can scroll down on it to get my messages. If I have any messages on there, it'll show me that first. Or I can just scroll down to the menu. Or you can program things into the button. Like hit once, I programmed flashlight in there. Okay? Hit twice, it takes a screenshot. Okay? Hold it down, I have it to go to the camera. Okay? Now, speaking of screenshots, there's things you can do with this device, which is pretty neat. For a mid-range phone, it's pretty neat. Before I get into the screenshot, let me show you this. It has knuckle gestures. Okay, you swipe across, you have to do a deliberate swipe, and you can, well, it's not a good idea to put a game on there if it takes full screen, but you can go into something that you already have opened up before. Okay, that's pretty neat. And then it has screenshot where you can do knuckle gestures. Well, this is for screen record. Okay, now it's recording the screen. Or smart screenshot, where you can draw shapes and you can even move it around to take a specific part of the screen. Or you can do a smart scrolling screenshot, hit it with force and hit scroll. Well, you want to be on another screen for that, and it will continue to take screenshots going down until you touch part of the screen to stop where you want it to stop at. Okay, that's pretty neat. When the device is off, You double click down and it takes a picture immediately. Okay. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I first got it, I would double click up and it was something that it did. I don't even remember what it did, but I believe when I turned on another gesture that it may have cut that off. As far as camera quality, it takes excellent pictures. It's not the best camera in the market. You'll hear a couple of people praising this phone like, oh man, it's better than the V20's camera for all that money you're spending, almost half, and it's better. It's not better than the V20. Get that out of your head. Don't let these other reviewers fool you into saying that they're trying to hype their video up or maybe get early access to devices like I'm always saying. Okay, see that was a really quick picture. Okay, the camera is decent. It's a little bit more than decent. It's a really good camera. See if I can get that in focus. Okay, video recording. Well, the camera has a lot of features. Let me get into talking about the video and pictures. You have a lot of features on here, manual mode pretty much, okay? People like to compare this to the LG V20 because you can record, you can do manual controls for videos, okay? Now, I will tell you this, it doesn't compare to the V20. It doesn't do as much. You can't control the video while you're recording. You can't control sound at all, much less while you're recording, okay? You can do all of that before recording. Same thing with photos. It has a lot of controls, and not only that, but the controls, they're not as intuitive or easy to comprehend as it is on the V20. And you would think that not having as many features in the manual controls that it would be an easier layout, but it's really not. But for a $400 phone, just for the simple fact that it has manual controls for video and pictures, is excellent. Okay, sorry, I have this phone out of view over here. I'm over here focusing on the little blue lobster. Okay, so video and pictures are excellent. The interface is excellent. Okay, you when you first get this phone, the app drawer will be off by default, but you can go in your menu and bring the app drawer back. Okay, it's very nice. Now you have a lot of features in here. Let me go to settings and see. Right now settings is not wanting to, or my see, this is real time here. Okay, I was trying to scroll down on the menu to bring the menu down, and it wouldn't do it for a while. So let's not let anybody fool you into thinking this is the smoothest, best bang for the buck phone of the decade. No, it's not. Okay, when you're talking about comparing devices, you can't put price into it. You're talking about device versus device. Okay, don't leave the people out of there that can afford whatever they want versus the people who can only afford a $300 device. Compare those devices to other $300 devices. Don't compare them to $600 devices and say, hey, this wins because it's cheaper. No, which device is better? Regardless of price, which one is better? Okay, so let's play around with this little first let me show you that it's the version that's on EMUI 5.0. No updates available. About phone, you can see there that it's on Android 7.0. Okay. This tells you about RAM and storage and all that. You can pause the screen whenever you want and read whatever you want, but we kind of went over most of that anyways. You have smart assistants, floating dock, to where you can turn the floating dock on, and I don't like it. Some people do. It's a gimmick. Okay, and this thing will be wherever you put it on the screen, on one of the sides or bottom or whatever. Well, one of the sides. And what it does is, like, for instance, you can clean up anything that's taking up memory on your phone at the moment. Okay. You can lock your phone. Okay, you can. This has the same controls that's down there. To me, it's just a gimmick. I don't like that. Okay, so we'll just leave that up there for now. App Twin. This is a feature that I really like because I have a couple of different Facebook accounts and I get tired of signing out of one and then signing into another. So you can actually sign into 2 different Facebook accounts or WhatsApp accounts at the same time, or whatever else that has multiple accounts. I only have a couple of things on here, so that's a big bonus. It might be a little thing, but it's a bonus. Do not disturb. Okay, let's go into display. You can control your color temperature. Now, speaking of display, this is not the brightest of screens. It's probably the dimmest of all screens that I've seen on any device. Okay. Now, this kind of brings me into a slight rant here. You had a reviewer who named 3 things. At first, when he got the LG V20, he loved it. And then suddenly, at the same time as a few other people, they started dogging the LG V20, the same device that they once loved. Okay? And here's the 3 things that they said they hated about it, other than the price. And the price is very competitive compared to other flagship devices, and the LG V20 does more. And I'm mentioning it with this for a reason. You have to bear with me. They said the screen was too dim on the LG V20. They said they didn't like the picture quality of the automatic shooter of the LG V20. Okay, and then they said they didn't like the battery life of the LG V20. Let me tell you this. The display on my V20 is brighter than the display on the Huawei Honor 8. If you put the camera HDR into auto mode, the picture quality is much better than the picture quality on the Honor 8. And the battery life is better than the battery life on the Honor 8. But that same person said that this device, I'm not going to say any names, New Orleans, said that this same device right here should be device of the decade. I'm sorry, but I beg to differ. This is a really nice device. It's a lot to love about it, not much to hate about it. Okay? But for $400, I would rather spend an extra $150 and get a V20. That's if the V20 isn't too big for you. But if I only had $400 to spend on a phone, it's a hard decision between this and the Moto X Play. There's other devices, they might be a little gimmicky as far as the mid-range devices go, like the Axon 7, with the front-facing speakers, sounds real good. But each one of those devices, they have gives and takes. To me, this has more to give than the other devices. Okay, there's, how often do you actually need your front-facing speakers to be that loud? Most people use headphones or earphones. Okay, so do you really need that? The sound on this isn't that great. You know, it has a single bottom facing speaker, which we didn't go over, headphone jack, USB-C, speaker, IR blaster. That is a big bonus right there. That alone, to me, has this device beating the other mid-range devices. That alone right there, IR blaster. To me, is definitely worth the money. But I will tell you this, because I am a power user, I like features, and this does have some features on it. But my V20 has all the same features and they're all better, okay? Well, it doesn't have a couple of the gestures as far as, you know, splitting the screen in half with your knuckle, but it still splits, you know, you still have split screen. But I got bored with this device only because it's redundant. If I didn't have another device that did all this, I would love it. Except the screen is too small for me. I need a big screen. I'll probably be getting the Mate 9 pretty soon, probably within the next couple of days. I'm not sure. If I do, I'm not keeping this. But it's a beautiful device. Would I use it as a daily driver? No, it's too small. It's kind of boring to me. I got bored with it real quickly, but that's not to say that you would. My opinion is just my opinion. I do highly suggest this phone to somebody else if they're looking for a device that's not too expensive, not going to break the bank, and has a lot of features in it. You know, gimmicky or not, what some people call a gimmick, other people may call a feature, and they may love it. Okay, I highly suggest this device. Device of the decade? No. For the price, one of the top devices of the year. That's as far as I'm going to say. Is probably a top, I'm not even going to say top 5. Let's say top 10 device of the year. Okay, it might be top 5. But device of the decade, okay, I'm going to say his name. Come on, Easy Computer Solutions. You're killing me here. This is not device of the decade, not phone of the decade by a long shot. But you cannot go wrong with this device. $400, 32 gigs, $450 for 64 gigs. Okay. I'll upload a couple of pictures, let you see V20, and you can judge for yourself. It's really not necessary because, like I always say, nobody takes pictures unless they're reviewing with two phones of the same scenery. Okay, if you have a good camera on your phone, it's going to look good to you right then and there. There's no need to set it side by side with another picture, you know, unless you're just one of those people that like to have phone picture wars. At that point, you need to do something else with your life. You know, I'm not going to say it's not fun sometimes. I do it sometimes. My picture's better than yours. But you're not going to go wrong with this. Now, there's more to this device. I'm really not going to go over. Like just now, you know, you can shrink the screen to an already small screen. And I did that accidentally, just flipping the screen over. I don't even know how, you know, I'm sure I did something like this. There I go. All right. It's cool. I really don't have any complaints about this device. Like I said, if I didn't have the LG V20 that did all the same stuff better, I would love it. Is this a kid's phone? No. It's made of glass. It'll break too easily. A man can have this phone. A woman can have this phone. This is gender neutral. Like I said, I would get it. But I'm not keeping this device. Maybe I'll give it away to someone I know, sell it. I don't know. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this review. Let me know what else you want to see reviewed, and I'll probably go out and get it if I get enough people saying to go get it and review it. Subscribe to my channel. And y'all stay safe out there. Peace. Okay, this is the Huawei Honor 8, doing a manual video test. It's 1080p.